The other the other thing I want to talk about is, there's a lot of stress right now. I feel like, not just the virus, it goes in waves, but the issues around the environment, what's happening in Afghanistan, all we're in a wave. I think for a lot of people of being very upset around the states of the world, and and a sense of I've talked to a lot of people who feel kind of paralyzed, like what can I do? What am I capable of doing? And Alana, I think you're just such a perfect example of somebody who does something very specific as an individual to make the little bit of difference that we can in the world. So if you are feeling immobilized, or if denial kind of like is a blanket that you like to lay on top of you for comfort sometimes, and you feel like you can't move, let your practice today be something that helps you kind of free the freeze. Our nervous system, when we're in that sympathetic drive, when we get stressed, one of the things that we often do is freeze. It's not just fight or flight, but we can freeze as well. And I think denial lives in this freeze state, and sometimes when we feel like there's nothing we can do, we live in this freeze state. So I'm hoping that your practice today is just kind of get the movement happening in your body, the breath happening in your body, so that you can take a step forward in whatever action that you are doing in your life. And then lastly, just a little bit about resiliency. I heard the other day on in a podcast that what makes us resilient, um, that if you've never had any trauma, any difficulties that you've had to overcome, you're not going to be very resilient. If you've never had support, you're not going to be very resilient. So you need both. You need to have had a little wear and tear along the way, and you need deep support. And the people who have both are the most resilient people. If you have no support, you're not going to be very resilient. And if you've not experienced, if you've been, kind of in the bubble your whole existence without a lot of bangs and bruises along the way, you're not going to be very resilient. So let's seek ways in which you have both of those things. So seek those out. If you need more support, seek out the support. Okay, I'll stop talking now. Okay, so let's come into our practice. So close your eyes and just take notice. How are you? How have you been feeling with all that's happening in the world? Your own little personal world of your mind, your own little personal world of your home, your family, your kind of inner circle, and then the bigger, broader world that we are all connected within. So have a moment to just kind of check in with yourself. Notice your breath. Notice where the wear and tear of the stressors are landing in your body and in your mind. When your nervous system kind of rises to meet stress, where are you today? Are you in a angry, I want to fight kind of state? Are you in a, I better just run away from this kind of state? Are you stuck? Are you frozen? Are you a little bit of all of the above? And how do these things land in your body? Where does freeze land in your body? Does it land in your breath or your diaphragm or anywhere else? And how about the urge to fight? Where does this land? How does this land in your body? And how about the urge to flee, the fighter or flee? Where does that land in your mind and in your body? All right, so let's bring the parasympathetic nervous system online. The simplest way is to make your exhales a little longer. So adjust your stance, your seat, so that you're comfortable. Is your body free, using the least amount of effort to maintain your posture as possible. And then begin to let your exhales go out slowly and experiment. Breathe through your nose, breathe out through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. Relax your tongue. Try some pursed lips, open mouth, closed mouth. There's so many ways to breathe out. Maybe make sound on your exhales. Notice what's happening in your neck and shoulders. See if you can feel into the sense of grounding and connection to the earth. And place your palms together to your heart and bow in. Offer an intention, something that supports you. How can you be in your practice, and how can your practice support you? All right, let's release the hands and come onto your back. All right, so as you find your way onto your back, this part of our practice when we begin is so important in the sense of how we start to become aware of our body, kind of listening to sensations, and especially if you're one of your coping mechanisms in your nervous system is either flee or freeze. The body can get stuck in really any pattern, but notice what your practice can give you to awaken and mobilize. All right, so reach the arms, stretch one side, stretch the other side. See if you can come into that feeling of climbing a little bit, like you're climbing on rocks, except our knees aren't bent. Open up the spine, open up the rib cage, let your body move, let your hips go offline. So one hikes higher and then the other hikes higher. Let these actions kind of start to free up the spine a little bit. And then relax and put your feet down onto the ground. And just take a moment to release your spine into the ground. And once again, find your breath. A nice, beautiful inhale and a long exhale, melting your body into the earth. Let's try one more. And then melt your body on your exhales. Bring both knees into the chest and rock a little bit, swaying from side to side, coming into that state of ease where you can kind of use rocking as a soothing mechanism, and you can rock fast or slow. All right, and then let's add some circles into this rocking, circling the knees, checking in with your spine, noticing your back, noticing your hips and your knees. Let's go the other direction, circling. A little massage across the low back and sacrum. All right, and then let's open the knees apart from each other and swing them back in. Just get in touch with how your hip joints are feeling today. All right, and then right knee into the chest, left leg comes along on the floor. Move your ankles and toes around. So, when we go through our paces of just warming up our body a little bit, sometimes the familiarity of this warm-up routine is really nice. We know what to expect. It's like, okay, now I'm checking this. Now I'm checking this. And let yourself, let the familiarity of it be a comfort so that you can just quickly dive into the sensation of your body. Let's switch sides. Left knee into the chest. Right leg is long. Feel the extension of the leg as well as the spine, and move those feet around. You can kind of telescope your feet, just see what kind of mobility is available.
and then bring your right knee back in, hug knees to chest. Take a deep breath, starfish open your body, land outward, feel the extension, wiggle your fingers and toes. Exhale, knees into your chest, pick up your head. Couple more times. Notice the breath. Exhale. Draw it in. One more time. The other great thing about practicing on your own is you get to go as slow or as fast as you want. You get to match the breathing and the movements together. And, so if I'm slightly off, if I move faster or slower than you, you go at your pace. Knees are now going to windshield wiper left and right. And as you go left, stretch right arm, get the side body to awaken a little bit. As you go right, stretch left arm, and just enjoy the center of the body a little bit. Feel the connection between your hips and your pelvis and your limbs. All right, and last, starfish out. Spread your wings. Exhale. Draw it in and find your way coming up onto hands and knees. So as we find all fours, let's remember our yielding. So let's try to take a little spin around the circle. So weight into your left hand, and then weight into your left knee, and into your right knee, and into your right hand. You can go as fast or as slow in this circling of weight bearing. Kind of yield, push, yield and push. And just notice your breath. See if you can start to slow yourself down. If your nervous system makes you feel racy, this is that, desire to fight or flee. We get a lot of adrenaline, cortisol, kind of kicking into our body. So see if you can keep working with those long exhales to drop that anxious energy down a notch if you're feeling it. If you haven't switched directions, go in the other direction with your yielding. Give time to notice your knee drop, to notice your knee reach into your hand. Every limb you weight into, you have a moment of give and then a moment of push off of the earth. So it's a yield and a push. All right, and then stretch back towards child's pose. Open up the back of your body and breathe deeply into the back of your spine. Put your arms anywhere that feels really wonderful to your body. All right, let's walk our hands over to the left or right. You decide which way you want to go first. Drop weight into the hips. Release your skull. Find the breath. All right, and then come back. Find the other direction. Feel into the weight of your pelvis. Drop down. And then come back up. Bring your hands back into a neutral place. And let's go ahead and find dog pose. Extending through the spine. Feel free to move here. Maybe you want to have a little bit of that yielding going on where you kind of lean into the left and then lean into the right, or left hand to right foot, left foot to right hand. Kind of find your way across these 4 points of contact and what kind of movement happens in the body when you yield. Relax your neck. Find those long, steady exhales. Move your body any way that the impulse, so listen to the impulses. If you have an impulse for swaying your hips or an impulse for moving your neck, follow the impulses. There's no wrongs. There's only inquiries. There's only a sense of following sensations and paying attention. Breathe your way here. If your back needs some more support, bend your knees. Let your breath be your guide. Slow it down. And then let's walk our feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Feel free to, pulse. You can kind of bounce. You can sway. You can move your shoulders, your neck, your hips. And then as you're ready, let's go ahead and come up all the way to stand. Shake out your wrists. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. And let's cactus the arms. Try not to pull your elbows way back. Keep your elbows in line with your shoulders and lift open the heart. Lean your head back a little bit. Open things up. And then exhale and round the spine. Touch your forearms. And then release and shake out the hands. And again. All right, we're gonna do just a little bit of balance work in the beginning to help ground us, kind of center us. If your focus tends to be all over, balance poses are so good for this. So first, let's just come up onto our toes, just kind of waking up our balance muscles in our body, physical muscles as well as just the mind muscle of balance. So come up onto the toes and then slowly rock back onto the heels. Up onto the toes and back onto the heels. You can go that fast or slower. All right, and then let's come up onto the toes. You don't have to go super high. Just go to a place where you're testing your balance a little bit. And notice your core. See if you can align through your spine. Your calves are probably turning on a little bit, and it's okay if you fall. And then put your feet back down onto the ground. Bounce a little bit. Just let your body come into the weight of gravity. All right, and we're going to stand on our right foot and lift the left knee up. Bring the arms out in front of you. And then we're going to turn our foot out and bring your elbows down and your hands out. Turn a little bit. And start to begin to straighten the leg just enough. You don't have to go all the way straight. And then back into that rotation and back to center. Take the right arm forward, the left arm back like you're slow-mo running. And then switch. Bend the knee you're standing on as you swing that leg behind you. Slow motion running. Okay, one more time coming forward. So the left knee and the right hand come forward, right arm comes forward, left arm's back. And then swing back. The knee you're standing on is a little bent. And come back. Come up to stand and come into tree pose. So you're achy probably a little bit in that hip. And that's okay. See if you can maintain. And then bring your arms on that diagonal. So bring your left arm down and your right arm up. Find your breath here. Slow and steady exhales. Okay, come back to center. Bring that knee up 2 feet onto the ground. Pick up your right foot and shake it out a little bit. And then bounce. Okay, so just come into kind of discharging some energy. Make your exhales come out. Make some noise. You can make any kind of noise you want. See, this is the joy. You're in your house. You can scream if you want to. So just let go in whatever way you want. Okay. All right, and then pause here. 2 feet on the ground. The nervous system's a little bit more tuned because we already know what we're doing on this side. So notice if you're already thinking forward. See if you can be here now. Find the breath. Drop weight into your left foot. And we're going to bring our right knee up. Arms come forward. Turn your knee out. Externally rotate a little bit. Hands come out. Elbows in. Start to press that leg a little bit straight. Notice if you lean into your hips. See if you can keep that standing hip hugging in. The knee is soft. Come back to center. Let's bring our left arm and right knee up. Slow-mo running. How's your breath? Swing that right leg behind you. Right arm comes forward. Super slow. Are you exhaling well? When you come back, bring the knee up again. Open up into tree pose on this side. Keep the hip hugging and ground through your foot. When you're ready, see if you can take the arms on the diagonal. Open up through your chest. Standing leg is self-supporting. The knee is soft. The hip is in. Don't worry if you're very off in your balance. Another gift of being in your home. Who cares? Relax your neck. And then bring that knee back up and place the foot down. And then rock. Make your exhales come out. All right, pause here for a moment. Tadasana. Opening the chest. Inhale. Arms coming to the sky. Exhale. Bend your knees and relax your spine. Wag your tail. Halfway lift. Extend open again. Exhale and come back down. Step back to dog pose. Find that sense of yielding again. Which limb do you want to lean into? Experiment. Find your limbs. Move any part of your body around that feels like moving. Finding the breath. Long, steady exhales. Next time you breathe in, try coming forward on the in-breath. See if that feels natural. Come into a plank. You can always hold or put your knees down onto the ground to support yourself. Just take your time in this posture and let yourself be self-supporting. Feel the core. Are you still able to relax? Let the base of your skull soften. Move your diaphragm. And then place your knees down and come all the way down to the ground. So find yourself coming safely to the floor. Turn your forearms out. They're on the ground. Open the chest. Come into, this little variation of a cobra. Shoulders are down. Feel the shoulder blades move toward the spine. Stretch the legs. Come into your breath. And then exhale and melt and come to the floor. Find your prone breathing. You can put your hands underneath your head. Enjoy the back body and how broad it can get on the breath. And then as you're ready, come on up and find all fours. Have a moment of moving into that sense of yielding into your limbs. Notice the difference between collapse. So if you look at my shoulders for a minute, this is collapse where you kind of like lean in. So feel the difference between bending the elbow and rebounding versus just locking and collapsing. All right, let's move through some cat-cows, arching the back, rounding the spine. Stay inside the rhythm of your breathing. Decide whether eyes open or closed or half-masked serves your ability to stay present in your sensations best. And then we're going to find our way into dog pose again. Curl the toes under and feel that sense of spreading into the soles of the feet. The toes broaden, the heels. Maybe you want to move your hips around and drop one heel or bend one knee. When you focus on something in your body like your feet, notice if you lose your connection to your breath. Stay with the breath always if you can. Keep coming home to it when you lose it. And let's bring our right foot forward, coming into a lunge. I'm going to grab my blocks so I have them close by. I like blocks under my hands because it makes my breath easier, but maybe you like to be on the floor. So decide what's best for your body. Extend through the spine. Feel the reach of your crown all the way through your spine, into your tail, into your femur bone, all the way through to your heel. Let's begin to straighten the leg a little bit. Be very mindful to not over round the back. You just want to open the hamstrings, so it doesn't matter how deep into the straight leg you get. Just feel the fibers of your hamstrings awaken. Find the rhythm of your breathing as you do this. Now, when you're ready, find your back heel and press it down onto the ground. So shorten up your stance just a little bit more than you might, so that when we come into Virabhadrasana, one leg, so your heels down, your hips can face forward, directly forward. Stretch the arms back, find your breath, and then rise up with your arms behind you. Turn your palms open, bring your arms out, cactus your arms like we did before. Try not to pull your elbows back and push your chest forward. Open your chest with your elbows right out from the shoulders. Feel the heart lift, a little bit of a thoracic back bend. Maybe your head can tip back, maybe it can't. And then exhale and push forward. If this is too much for your spines, we're going to go back and forth. Instead of pushing forward, push back with your hands. That's much safer for your spine. If you feel like being this far away from your center is too much, open your breath. Inhale, cactus, open the chest. Exhale, hands back or forward, lengthen the spine. One more time. Open the chest on the inhale. Exhale and push away. Rise all the way up. Bring the arms to the sky. Maybe you interlace your fingers. You take your variation of this posture, whatever is right for your body. Lift open, lengthen. Try not to sink into the lumbar spine. Exhale and release the hands down. Walk your back foot forward. Uttanasana. Release your head. Let the full length of your spine find some space. Halfway lift. The spine grows taller and longer. Exhale and melt back down again. Let's go ahead and bring the left foot forward, right foot back, finding a full lunge. Open up through your chest. Breathe here. Enjoy the hamstring, or not the hamstrings, but the hip flexor of that back leg's opening up. Breathe. And then as you're ready, let's start to move. And you can put your blocks on high heights for this. So when you straighten your leg, you have some support. Try not to let your whole back round. This puts a lot of pressure on your spine. So let's just stay in the range of motion to open the hips without your back getting too involved, or open your hamstring and your hip flexors without your back getting too involved. How's the breath? All right, and then when you're ready, press your back heel down onto the ground. It might help to pull your front foot back a little bit so your stance is just a smidge shorter than you're used to. This will allow you to turn the pelvis. Normally we do crescent lunge in the beginning. So feel the ground. Your 2 feet are on the earth. Feel that grounding. Find your breath. Reach your arms back behind you. Feel the shoulder blades, the spinal muscles ground into your feet. And then when you're ready, rise upward. Go ahead and cactus the elbows out. Try not to pull your elbows back and smush your shoulder blades. See if you can keep the front, back, and sides of your rib cage to all expand instead of just pinching the back and pushing the front open. Big breath in. Exhale, decide whether you're pushing toward like an imaginary wall or if your hands are back. A couple more times. Open the chest. Exhale, push the hands away. You can even push out to the sides too. And when you're ready, reach the arms upward. Maybe you interlace your fingers. Maybe your hands are much wider. Be where your body says go. Ground into the feet. Feel the length of the spine. Try not to divot into the low back, but feel extension all the way through. Exhale and release. Walk your back foot forward. Come into Uttanasana. Again, fold, bend your knees, wag your tail, anything that you want. Find your breath. And then go ahead and find your way up safely. We're going to bring a block in between our thighs. So, this sense of stability, what we need for balancing our nervous system, for feeling that sense of resiliency. We need stability. So blocks, when we find something to reach to the midline with, it helps us feel stable. So at first, curl in. So we're gonna do some variations on chair pose. But first, just curl in. Maybe you can even take your hands like a circle, or however you want your hands to come toward you. Curl your spine just a little bit. We're not super rounding. We're not tucking the tailbone deeply under. We're just finding the core, and then reach your arms out. Exhale, find the core, just a little bit of curving. Inhale and reach out. Last time. Core. And then reach. Now, while you're here, little tiny pulses. See if you can get the sense that you can find your core and then pulse into the back body, opening yourself up. So kind of just a little bit of that. It doesn't have to be, so we're not doing this and doing this, right? But see if you can find that sense that you're just a little bit supporting into the core, and then a little bit of rebound into an arch of the back. Feel support by both the front and the back of the body. Now find simultaneously both at the same time. Ground your feet, front and back body. By the way, move your hands anywhere you want them to be. They do not have to be up there. All right, and then relax and come to stand with that block. Shake out the hands, ground yourself. Okay, let's come onto the tippy toes. Keep the block, come onto the tippy toes. And not the tippy toes, but the balls of the toes. See if you can feel what happens. Can you invite the core to support? And then heels back down. Open up your feet and ground them. Okay, we're going to move through a vinyasa with this sense of stability at our midline. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, cactus. While you're here, take a breath in. Exhale, round in. Use the core. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Now you can jump back, hop back, wobble back. Get yourself to dog pose. So yield into your limbs. Feel the stability of the block. Relax your neck. See if you can feel comforted by the stability that the block is providing you. All right, let's come forward into a plank. You can always put your knees down onto the ground. Hold yourself stable, find the midline. See if you can inner spiral the thighs just a little bit so the block is lifting toward the sky more than it's moving toward the earth. Okay, and then come onto all fours. Okay, shake out your hands if you need to. Find the stability of hugging the block between your thighs. And I have the block on the narrowest height. Maybe you want the block. You can also change it for the block on the ground between your shins in the mid height. There's lots of ways. This will activate your pelvic floor a little bit more. There's lots of ways to support the midline. Okay, so choose your pathway and let's move through some cat-cows. Arching the back, rounding the spine. All right, now wherever you have the block, we're going to keep our legs on the ground and we're going to inhale and either take your arm out to the side, up overhead, or back. Back is easiest. Out to the side is the next more challenging, and out in front is the most challenging. Don't let your ego decide what you're doing. Let your body decide what is most self-supported. Do you feel stable? And then release that hand down onto the ground. Second side. So find the block. Breathing well. Notice, when something's just slightly off, like we lost a limb supporting us. Where does that transfer of support need to go? All right, and then place that hand down onto the ground. Come up to dog pose. Maybe you have the block in a different place than you did before, and that's fine if you have it between your shins now. So you decide somewhere to hug the midline with. See if you can come back into that yielding of your limbs. Try to unwind the collapse pattern of your shoulders. And then we're going to inch our way or hop forward into Uttanasana. And then bend your knees to rise on up. Now I have the block between my shins, so this is very different than holding the block between your thighs. So you do you, decide how you want to be. Come into a little bit of a curl and then reach into chair pose. Can you find front and back support? Maybe your arms are in a different place. And rise up to stand. Find Tadasana. And wherever that block landed, let's go ahead and take it on out. Okay. Take a deep breath in. Open up. Let's turn right to the side of your mat and come with a wide-legged stance. Okay. So ground yourself. Feel that sense of weight. And we're going to move into our right leg and then transfer back into our left. So, we've done this kind of thing before. Let's see what it feels like to transfer weight from one foot to the other. How is your breath? Can you relax the shoulders? Can you feel that you're yielding and then pushing, and yielding and then pushing? And let that transfer across your pelvis to the other side so that we're not, like stucco, where we're losing the, let it transfer. The push off transfers into the yield on the other side. All right, now come to your variation of a goddess. Now, just like we did before in the chair poses, well, first of all, maybe you want to bounce. I feel like bouncing, so maybe you do too. So it's okay to be mobile. You don't have to lock yourself into a position. Come as high as you want, come as low as you want. Now, let's feel that sense of curling in just a little bit. We're not super rounding the spine. A little center energy, and then a little rebound open. Exhale into that center. Inhale, anything you want. If you're going to bring your elbows back, try not to pull them back. We're staying in a neutral plane. Maybe your variation of this, straighten your legs when you come open. And then find some steadiness wherever you ended up. Find ease in your upper body. Ground through your legs. And then stand on up. Turn your right foot out and your left foot back. Let's find Parsvottanasana, so side angle pose. When you bring your elbow down, see if you can still be finding this balance between your two legs. So see if you can bend the back knee a little bit. Draw the femur bone back and let the push off that back foot straighten the leg a bit and move you into the front foot and just go back and forth. I know it looks silly, but just go back and forth. Feel into this. The sense of being able to weight bear in the back leg and give that push off into the front so you cross the pelvis into the front, and same, push off the front to give to the back. So we're finding some harmony between our two legs, unity, wholeness between our two legs and our pelvis. So we're not just stuck, okay? And then eventually slow that a little rhythm down until you find the posture. And you may curl in like we did before and rebound into some length. Maybe that curling in bends the back knee and gives some weight into the back foot, and then push off to find that extension. Yield to push. All right, let's come on up. We're just gonna turn to the other side. So, let go of I must go into this strong, these are good poses to be strong and resilient in. But if we're just push and no yield, we lose this support. So remember, resiliency comes from having both support and, being able to fortify yourself in strength and stability. So we want both. So if you don't have any support, if you're only push and really self propping, this is not as resilient as really receiving the support from below. So as you come into this pose, bend your elbow and try these things. So bend your back knee a little bit and then push off your back knee to give to that front leg. And then push off the front leg to give to the back. So just kind of transferring weight, transferring yield, yield and then push, yield and then push. Finding the traverse across your pelvis where we're whole. We're not just one leg. We're not two legs that are separate from each other. We are whole. Okay. And then see what it feels like to find a slight curl. We're not rounding, but we're finding our center, bend that knee, and then rebound into the length. So really all this is navel radiation. You're coming into the center and reaching away, just like we do in the beginning of class when we reach away and curl in. It's that same energy of navel radiation, of finding the center and then reaching out into space. So slowly form your full posture and see, even as you become more still, if there's echoes of those yields living in your legs, living from your center to your edges. Feel support, both legs, feel support. And then come on up. Turn your feet straight to the long edge of the mat and come down. So maybe, you might need hands on blocks. You might need hands on floor. However you want to be in this pose. Let's allow ourselves to find some softness. Release your head down. Maybe it's supported, maybe it's not. Deep breath in. Long exhale. Are you able to yield your legs here? Can you find that there are some soft knees within the straight knees for you to kind of yield into the earth and rebound through the pelvis, through the spine? All right, let's come all the way back up to stand. Bring your feet back to center. Standing in Tadasana again. Open up the breath. And we're going to come back to that first balanced vinyasa we did. We're going to move it a little bit differently. So ground through your feet. Come up onto the toes. Heels back down. Stand on the right foot. Left knee comes up. Open up your hands out to the side. Turn and open your knee. Stretch that leg to wherever it goes in that external rotation. Coming back to center. Run in slow-mo. Now, the next time you bring that left knee up, we're going to open out to the side. Try not to let your elbows pull back. The elbows are in line with the shoulders. Find your stability. Have that sense of hugging into the core and then rebound out. Hug into the core a little bit deeper and rebound out. Leg is straight now. One last time. Hugging into center, rebound out. And then 2 feet on the ground. Hopefully your hips are a little fatigued. So we're looking for the sense of gaining strength here. Bounce, let that go. Take a breath. We're coming onto our left foot now. Inhale, knee up. Exhale, elbows out. Turn your hip out. Straighten to wherever your body goes. Don't worry if you don't go very straight at all. Back to center. Come into your slow-mo running. This always makes me think of the Bionic Man. I'm probably aging myself here, but if you ever remember that TV show, we used to pretend as kids that we were like, all right, come on up. All right, find yourself. Open the arms, cactus your knee. Find the breath, stabilize that standing leg. And then we're gonna come in and reach your leg and arms out. Exhale, use your core. Inhale, stabilize with your hips. One last time. And don't worry if you're like, I can't do that, I have to stop in between, or your balance. You just do you. Okay. All right, shake. Breathe. Long exhales. Bounce. This is also good for your nervous system. Just some shaking, some bouncing, whatever feels good. All right, then stand still. Find your yielding, soft knees. Okay, we're going to spread our legs wide again on the mat. Hopefully you have a whole lot of balance built into you now. We're going to come into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. I backed up because of my furniture, but you can start in a wider stance if that's more comfortable for you. Blocks are so nice. Bend your knee, track your foot straight, pointing toward the short edge of your mat. Take your hand on the block and inhale to lift yourself up. Now, if you feel like you need a little bit of that yielding or coming into the center and reaching out, find little micro pulses. If you go right in and you just prop, if you're just push, where's the yield? So find something softer, find support. Okay, and then a big, giant step out to come out of the pose. Okay, we're going to come to the second side. Standing on your left foot, turn your toes so they face the short edge of the mat. Try not to let your foot turn in or out. Bend your knee and come on up. The block can be further out toward the pinky toe side of your foot as far as you want. And you can keep your hand on your hip. You can put your foot on the wall. There's so many ways to support yourself. And see, maybe you want to kind of curl in and rebound. Don't worry if it looks funny. Feel into that sense of both the yield push and the center expanse. Okay, curling in, broadening out. All right, and then let's take a giant step back out of the pose. Come back to Tadasana. Breathe well. Inhale. Come on up. We're coming all the way down to the ground now. So bend your knees, relax your neck. Wag your tail if you want. We're coming down onto the ground. Okay, so lie down on your back. Put your feet onto the ground. The last little bit of some moving vinyasa that we'll do here is just moving through some bridge poses. So we can lift our hands just up to here, or we can lift our hands overhead. You can have your pelvis just a little bit off the ground. You can have your pelvis lift high. So however your variation of moving through bridges with breath is for you. So where do you want to inhale? And where do you want to exhale? Where do you want your arms to go? How high do you want your pelvis to go? Can you have a controlled descent? Is there balance? Are you yielding? So can you yield your feet to have that push to reach into space? And then return back down. One more time. And then release. Neutral pose, pelvis is resting on the ground. Find your breath. Relax your arms. All right, let's lift up the hips and scooch them to the right. Bring your knees up and drop them to the left. Open up into your twist. Breathe deeply. Enjoy the feeling through your spine, through your pelvis, your hips. How are your exhales now? And then come back to center, pelvis onto the ground. Hips go the other way, knees come up and drop to the side. Open the chest, turn the head. Everything can be backed off, everything can be deepened. Everything can be sped up, everything can be slowed down. Everything can be included, everything can be omitted. So remember, this is your practice. There's no rules about what must be done. All right, and inhale and come back. Neutral pelvis on the ground again. Enjoy neutral spine. Breathe into that neutral spine. Close your eyes for a moment. Enjoy your breath. And then the last little posture we're going to do before Shavasana is cross your right thigh over your left thigh and bring your knees toward your chest, stretching your hip a little bit. All those balance works. Really, your hip is the epicenter of your stability. So just let it release now. All right, and then open your legs one more time to a starfish, spreading limbs. Exhale, knees to chest, cross left thigh over right, put your head back down if it came up, and grab onto your shins, your knees, your feet, and go ahead and draw toward the chest. Wide sit bones, long spine, rest your shoulders, rest the back of your skull. And unwind that. And let's find any pose you want to complete your practice. Maybe knees to your chest and rocking, maybe happy baby pose. Maybe you're going right into Shavasana. Now, I just want to show you one little thing. If your nervous system, if the stressors of the day are really wiring you and making you feel hypervigilant and on alert, and that sympathetic drive is still kind of with you, doing Shavasana on your belly can be a really nice thing. So just look over here if you want to try this. I'm going to take my bolster. If you don't have bolster, you could use some couch pillows. I'm going to take a blanket on top and then another blanket, narrowly accordion folded. Oops, let me move blocks so you can see like that. Okay. And then you can lie down on your bolster. So your sternum is on your bolster. This blanket underneath your pelvis, low belly pelvis, helps your sacrum to be in a good place. And then you can bring your arms out to the sides and rest your forehead on the blanket. Okay, you can change your arm position too. So, you can try fiddling with that if you feel like lying on your back does not help. Being on your belly is a very protective place to be for your nervous system. It's very soothing at times, so take what you need for Shavasana. As you settle into whatever posture you are doing, can you let your limbs all go? Relax as best as you can so that you feel that sense of ease come on the out breaths. Let your breath out slow. Melt your skull. Relax your body. At any moment, if something does not feel perfectly comfortable, make a different choice. Create a change. Live inside your breath over and over. Feel the healing power of your exhales. Let's begin to deepen our breathing again.
feel the power of the inhale, bringing, bringing some new energy into you. Feel the release of the exhale. Let's find some movement as you're ready, whatever feels good. Find your way up as you're ready. Just take time coming onto your side. There's no rush. Breathe your way into an upright posture. Let's bring our hands together at your heart. Offer the ease of your nervous system. This truly is a gift you can give other people. When you are with someone who's stressed, ground yourself and breathe slowly. And give your exhale the gift of that long exhale to another. Let's send our love and care. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.